Welcome back, you lovely people. I hope everybody is doing really, really well. 1 second, sorry. Okay, I'm back. I hope everybody is doing as well as can be expected. Of course, it's been an eventful, couple of weeks, but really culminating in what happened on Wednesday, which was the giant sell-off. And then, even though the giant sell-off was on Wednesday, I feel like yesterday was maximum fear. And that's because everybody really, really hoped it was over. And yesterday was a serious move to the downside as well. Wasn't quite a new low for Bitcoin. But yeah, I think everybody was just praying that it was all going to be up from the low, and we had to put in that final, hopefully final capitulation. So I'll talk about that a little bit more in 1 second, but welcome to the Ask Me Anything. Please put questions in the comments or in the chat. I'll definitely get to them as soon as possible. And so let's talk a little bit more about what's going on. So Bitcoin is up 7.5% today, which I think is a relief for many people to see a little bit of strength. And I released a video earlier today, which is very, very important watching for everybody. So if you haven't had a look at it yet, then go over to my YouTube channel and definitely watch it as soon as possible, because it's really important in terms of setting up what's going to happen for the rest of the cycle. Probably worth just talking a little bit about the totality of what's happened over the past, let's say, a couple of weeks, because we peaked at $65,000 in mid-April, and Bitcoin had been sideways for a couple of months, which was allowing altcoins to really run really nicely, and I know a lot of people did really well out of that. And so mid-April we had our first correction, and this is one that we were definitely prepared for, because we've been speaking for a long time now about this large mid-bull market correction. But one thing that we certainly didn't expect was for it to be 54%. So that has been painful for most people. Not the, you'd struggle to find somebody who was going to predict that. Nobody can really account for Elon Musk losing his mind. And then, of course, lots of other headlines and noise and stuff. So the result of that is a 54% correction, which is a lot more than the last cycle. But there's a couple of things that are very important. Number one, this has just brought us back in line to where we expected to be at this stage. For anybody who's watched the playbook, if we were to rewind back to the halving, we would expect to be at $40,000 around this time. So nothing has changed there. We just went up very quickly, and now we've come back in line. And it's amazing how the model does that. It also did it last February, March, when we had a big correction for the pandemic and then quickly came back in line. So to the upside and the downside, it can be impacted in the short term. But when we look at the cycle, then we always come back, at least up until now, we come back into where we expect to be. And the second thing that I would point out is that in 2013, which was the cycle before, which we haven't been paying too much attention to. But we had an 80% correction in 2013. Now, we put a lot of that down to the fact that Bitcoin was so young and so volatile, because it was like $50, $100 a Bitcoin. But there are also similarities with 2013. There's a lot of money printing happening in 2013, as there is now. And that created a lot of volatility at that time, as well as Bitcoin being so young. And that's what's happening this time. We've gone up really, really quickly. We've been hugely volatile. Up until a few weeks ago, a lot of volatility to the upside. And now we've seen the volatility to the downside. And so just zooming out and looking at this cycle, are we still on track for our targets? Well, we are certainly still on track. I did mention in the video earlier today that based on where we're at in the cycle now, it's looking like mid-October for the cycle peak. I previously said September to October. We're honing in on mid-October, but I will do more work on the numbers in a couple of weeks once we are out of this. And I'll look at the price target at that point as well. But it's also interesting to note that the halving tracker is showing 260,000 for the cycle peak, and the cycle repeat graph is showing 325,000 for the cycle peak. Our projection was 296, stock to flow is 288. So there's a lot of convergence in the targets. And as soon as we are back to an all-time high, we'll have a really clear view on everything that happened, and we can recalibrate all of those numbers again. And at that point, we should have something quite, well, something that we can aim towards. But if there's one thing that this has shown us, is that the market will always find a way to surprise you and us. It's never going to be easy. There's a reason why they call this the bull of all bulls, and she is certainly bucking. And the trick is, how long can you stay on its back or on her back? But hopefully that's why we've been doing all of the work for the past year. It's to prepare ourselves for situations like this. We didn't know it was going to be this dramatic, but at least we've done the preparation. I know there's a lot of people out there who hadn't done the preparation that were shaken out by this. So I'm sure there'll be more questions about it, so I won't go on and on and on. I'll let you ask what you want to ask, and then we can get very, very specific. And I will make my way to questions. I had one sent in just before, so I'll just answer that. And he said, what's my prediction on Chainlink? Because I put out a story saying it was going to $1,000. So I must just say that that story I put out saying Chainlink's going to $1,000 was a joke. It's a famous meme in the Chainlink community. But I previously projected about $300 for Chainlink, and I have no further information on any targets that I've made. They all still feel about right. But there's a very important distinction to make with altcoins, in that, well, I know there's going to be talk about Bitcoin versus altcoins. I've released 2 series on Bitcoin dominance over the past few weeks, really, really important. And I've been saying for 2 weeks that Bitcoin will start outperforming altcoins, and that would particularly take hold during the capitulation. That's exactly what happened. So well done to those that listened. Now, altcoins will bounce hard after putting in such horrific losses. So you're going to see Chainlink up 21% today and Ethereum up 17% today. That's fantastic. But between now and the cycle peak in October, there is far less reward versus risk when you're looking at altcoins versus Bitcoin. Go and watch the series on Bitcoin dominance. Really, really, really important. Bitcoin, if altcoins are not drastically outperforming Bitcoin, what's the point in holding them? So some might, some won't. It's certainly not going to be like the past 4 months, because Bitcoin's going to start to go up and Bitcoin's being sideways. So really think about that portfolio allocation. And so what happens with altcoins in the last cycle, I would expect it to happen in this cycle as well. Over the next couple of months, they will start underperforming Bitcoin. And then after Bitcoin peaks, they have a massive, gigantic pump where they put in a lot of their gains. So when I say, for example, Chainlink is going to go to $300, it's probably going to go to, take these numbers with a pinch of salt, it's probably going to go to like $60, $70 by September. And then in 2 weeks, it will go to $300, something like that. So just keep that in mind, how that's going to work. And that is in the Bitcoin dominance videos. I just saw a comment there. Yes, that's all on the YouTube. The YouTube. There's a playlist called Explainers, and it's in there. So I would, if you're into altcoins, definitely get in there and watch it. Right, I'm gonna go. Just gonna drink some tea, and then I'm gonna answer some questions. Feel free to I know a lot of people, well, I shouldn't be laughing, and I'm not laughing at what I'm about to say. I know a lot of people are hurting over the past couple of weeks. So just know that you are not in it on your own. A lot of people made a lot of mistakes in terms of trading in and out. And of course, seeing your portfolio cutting half, 50%, 60%, 80% if you're in altcoins is not very nice. But this is the crypto bull market, and this is the volatility that you need to be ready for. If you weren't ready this time, you'll be ready next time. It's a continual learning experience. Final admin point. We have a community Telegram group, which is absolutely incredible. Thank you, Sammy, for setting it up. Thank you, Sammy and Mary Lou, for moderating, and everybody in there that's having amazing discussions. We're going to, correct me if I'm wrong, Sammy, but we're going to set it to private soon, maybe in a week or so. So make sure you get in there whilst you still can. And Sammy, maybe if you can post it on the Zoom on Instagram, it's in my bio at the moment, but it won't be after a week or so. So we're just looking for everybody that's really, really engaged right now to get in there, but we don't want it to become very unwieldy and have scammers in there and, you know, all of that sort of palaver. We want really high quality discussion and support in there, and that's exactly what's happening now, and it's very, very cool to see. Right, questions? Martin, what needs to happen over the next few days for 30k to officially be the bottom? The price needs to go up and stay above 30k. I mean, there's no real answer to that. In the video earlier today, I showed what happened in 2017 and 2013. It does feel like the bottom, at least for now. There is one scenario where we bounce. I don't want to put exact numbers on it, but let's say to between 45 and 48,000. And then we put in one more capitulation and we may make a new lower low. It's not my base case. I personally believe that we bounce from here have quite a nice bounce over, let's say, this week, and then a bit of sideways movement before we take out the all-time high. That's my base case. But we need to be prepared for both. Sammy, well done for buying the dip. And I know a lot of people bought the dip and then it kept going down. So, you know, this is not an easy game. This is also a reason why I was saying right at the beginning, buy what you want to hold until September, which is now looking like October, because you can get really caught up in these movements and volatility, and it's a lot simpler to buy and hold. So that should be the strategy for most people. Katie, I hope that you've stopped crying today, because everything's green today, and hopefully I would hate to see what happens if we go down again tomorrow. But yeah, we're not going to bypass it and say it was easy. It was hard for everybody. But there are incredible lessons to be learned, both in terms of investing, but incredible lessons in terms of mentality and values, mindfulness. You know, I've certainly learned a lot from this as well. Fabian, how do you think the Arbitrum release on Friday will impact the market, especially Link and Chainlink? Link and Ethereum. That will, you know, all altcoins need Bitcoin to be strong right now. So it's a bit broader than your question. As you've seen, Bitcoin's stabilizing today and altcoins are living it. But the investors are very fickle. Is that the right word? I'm not sure. If Bitcoin sneezes, everybody's already on edge and altcoins are going to drop again, right? That's the dynamic that we're in now. So we certainly need Bitcoin to remain strong for anything to positively impact the price. I feel like I'm a bit blurry on Instagram. Don't know if that helped. Now, if the market's stable, then of course, good news is good news. It's certainly good news if it goes well. I don't know, Fabian, the ins and outs of it. I wouldn't think that it's going to be groundbreaking, simply because you already have layer 2 solutions that are in place and working, like Matic. I know this is a very good addition as well. So positive news, but as long as the crypto market is stable. If not, then it kind of doesn't matter. That's a good point. That's really why I'm focused on Bitcoin and the market psychology, because it's the only thing that matters right now. It really is. And if you are in altcoins, that's fantastic. Just bear in mind that they are moving around the Bitcoin movement, particularly now, particularly when everybody is a bit on edge. And of course, keep in mind my points on Bitcoin dominance. Carlos. Last week during the drop, Binance froze with the volume of transactions. However, the automated DeFi exchanges seem to be okay. What is the exit strategy with exchanges? What do you have in mind? That's a really good question, Carlos. I've been taking some coaching clients through my straw man exit strategy, and that's going to turn into a training module, which I'll put out there for everybody. And we are absolutely very mindful of the fact that exchanges go down at the worst possible time. And that's why for most people, the strategy won't be to sell at a particular date and time when they think we're near the top. Because if you think we're near the top, a lot of other people are going to think the same. So for most people, a strategy is going to be some sort of selling down in tranches. And in the course, I recommend that well, I don't recommend anything, but my proposed strategy is leaving in something in Bitcoin, let's say 10%. So if you're taking out 90%, then looking to sell that down in chunks. A light here. And that could be, for example, 4 chunks, 5 chunks, whatever you choose. I'll go through that in the training. So the key to that, therefore, is knowing when to start, when to execute that sort of strategy. And we'll be looking for a block of time when we're coming up to the peak and moving through the peak. And I'm going to say, for example, that is the month of October. So if that's the month of October that you're going to be selling in, and then you'll get an average price, I'm just going to make this easy for myself and say that you're going to sell in 8 chunks. Well, that's just twice a week. So put it in the diary. Every Monday and Thursday at 9 a.m, you go in and you do 1/8 of your sale. And then if an exchange is down one of those times, it doesn't really matter. You just move it to a different time. It'd only be 1/8. But that is all to come in the training. Charlotte. Yeah, absolutely. Getting organized for the exit. I'm certainly going to be doing content and training. You're happy you moved some alts over to Bitcoin. Well done, gold star. Anna, that is, it's a long question, so I'm just trying to break it down. Is there a UK bank that works well for, I guess, on-ramps and off-ramps to exchanges? I really recommend getting in the Telegram for that, because I know that the group have just had a discussion about banking, because we have 250 people in there, and everybody's been going through the process with their various banks. And I know a lot of people running into issues, but people finding the right banks and ways around it as well. So I know the community will be able to answer that a lot better than me, because I don't know the current state of affairs. I haven't used a bank for a while, and I know it's a changing landscape. So get in the Telegram, and yeah, also there'll be some people on this call today who might want to just pop in the comments experiences for Anna. NatWest seems like it might be a good example, a good option. Cool, some really good suggestions there. Okay, I'm gonna go to, what's this called? Instagram. Dares to dream. What do I think of Shiba coin? I don't think anything of Shiba coin in particular, because it's a meme coin with no fundamentals. So what you're really asking is, do you think it's a good gamble, a worthwhile gamble? Because that's what it is with all of these meme coins. And I think you really have to ask yourself where we are in the cycle, and is this the right time? I don't know the answer to that, because if we have a big bounce in Bitcoin now and altcoins have a big bounce, there may be a window of opportunity to gamble on altcoins. No. Today, if today continues, well, some of these altcoins are at 50-60% today, right? Obviously, that's off the back of getting absolutely obliterated. So I don't know the answer. I can't say I've studied the waves within the cycle when it comes to meme coins. So it's and of course nobody has, because it's impossible. So you just need to really give it some critical thought around whether it is the right time to be doing that. I think my views have been really clear on the last few weeks of videos, is that the risk reward right now is heavily in favor of Bitcoin. And that's because we have a 6x return in front of us in 5 months, which is absolutely astronomical. So if you bet on something else and you lose, then you're missing out on that opportunity. So be cautious, but of course, if you take a gamble on a altcoin or meme coin and it goes well, then all power to you. What's up, Geo? Fraser, goats, the goat? I'm not the goat, but thank you. Or maybe that's a meme coin that you're talking about. There's a goat coin. It's gone from doggy coins to goat coins. Hey, catch, yeah. Okay. Looking at the halving tracker, Sammy, there's a goat coin, aqua goat, brilliant. Brilliant. Well, we need to do our meme coin, meerkat coin. Looking at the halving tracker, it looks like there could be another big correction between 40 and 60 days time when you compare to last cycle. What do you think? Yeah, I'm absolutely with you on that. The market is going to be extremely volatile from here on out. So if we've got 5 months through to the peak, and we have, I'm guessing, but let's say 5 30% corrections to come, and we've seen the volatility, so maybe there'll be more. Maybe one of them will be 50%. We can't rule anything out. So there's going to be a lot of volatility. And in the last cycle, yeah, I'm aware of what you're talking about, and I'm sure we will get another one around that time. But 40 to 60 days is, we don't know exactly when, of course. If we did, we'd all be billionaires by now. Hey, Maria, is it a good time to buy Bitcoins now? So if you went to your favorite shop and the absolute best invention, technology, the coolest gadget was discounted by 42%, would you think it was a good time to buy? For me, that's a no-brainer. But of course, if you do, you need to be prepared for it to go down. Nobody can say it's going to go up from here in the short term, because the market is on edge, and we may drop again, we may go up again, we don't know. We have quite a good understanding of what's going to happen in 5 months, but certainly in the next 5 days is more difficult. So if you do buy, just be prepared to ride out the volatility. And that's for everybody, obviously. Whenever you buy Bitcoin, this is the game that you are signing up for. Do you think it's the end of alt season? And would it correlate to Bitcoin changes? As in, would you reflect it as an inflation to the coins as stocks are to inflation? I don't understand the second part of your question, but so feel free to reword it. But do I think it's the end of alt season? Yes and no. No, alt season basically goes through till October. Maybe it'll be November because they peak after Bitcoin peaks. So still 5 or more months to go. At the same time, the altcoins go in waves. And in December, I was putting out content saying alt season is about to begin. For a reason, I called it peak alt season. Peak alt season is about to begin. We've had 4 months of peak alt season. 2 weeks ago, I started putting out content saying Bitcoin dominance is about to turn, i.e. peak alt season is coming to an end, but we're still in the wider alt season. And this next phase that we're in now is from now to the Bitcoin peak, where I wouldn't label it as peak alt season, I'd label it as Bitcoin season. Now, once Bitcoin has peaked, you'll get a very short, dramatic peak alt season, peak alt season. So that's how I expect it to work based on the last cycle, and it's been very accurate so far. Hey, Scott. Hey, Alicia. Oh, I was blurry. Yeah, I thought I was. Fletcher and Rose, how can you not use a bank? I do have a bank. I just try not to use it. And yeah, and I'm doing quite a good job of that. And at some point, I will hopefully not have a bank. I mean, that is my goal, hopefully by the end of this year. And I haven't used a bank in relation to cryptocurrency in a long time. Michael McCaffrey, is it possible we see an extended cycle? 200k Bitcoin by September seems unlikely at this point, but perhaps the cycle extends into 2022, giving it a better chance. Good question. Michael's talking about the lengthening cycles theory, where each cycle is longer. And no, Michael, I do not believe in that theory for a very simple reason. If we have lengthening cycles, at some point, the cycle will overlap with the halving, and the halving cycle becomes invalidated. And for me, this is all about the halving. There's a reason why before the halving, I started putting out content saying, guys and girls, we're about to go through the halving and the price is about to explode. The halving is the critical pre-programmed date where there's a supply shock every 4 years and creates the ripples that we are seeing today, all the way up to the peak. Lengthening cycles is not congruent, is that the right word? Is not congruent with the lengthening cycles theory. Lengthening cycles doesn't align with halving cycle. They can't coexist. It's one or the other. And for me, it's a very clear halving cycle. Look at the charts. We are following the 4-year model. If that gets invalidated, then we can start talking about lengthening cycles. But I'm not seeing it at all at the moment. And I think we're having the peak around October. You said $200,000 Bitcoin seems unlikely. My tag, I do believe it's unlikely because I believe we're going way above that. So I think you're saying we'll be below that, and I think that we'll be way above that. Jay, it's better to leave Bitcoin for 4 years or sell 80% in September rather than buy and leave for 4 years. So definitely go and watch the playbook, because that's what it's all about. And of course, they are the two options: hold for many years or sell, take some profits towards the peak and reinvest towards the bottom. And one is simpler. You never have to check the market again until you're ready in 8 years' time. And the other one can increase your returns, because you get to sell hopefully near the top and buy near the bottom. You know, I don't recommend trading. The only trade that I suggest is selling at the cycle peak. It's a 4-year trade in total. Well, probably less, because you then step aside and buy again in a year or so. So it's a 3-year trade. So I'm putting that out there because I believe that anybody who's wants to be very interested in crypto can pull that off. Otherwise, I wouldn't be putting it out there to people. So Jay, yeah, that's really the better strategy is the one that fits right with your view of the world and what you want to achieve. But definitely go and watch the playbook. Michael, I've invested about 5% of my portfolio in alts. Most of my portfolio is in Bitcoin. However, I've heard Ethereum is a good investment long term. It could be a scarce asset with token burn. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I believe Ethereum will be a good investment long term. It's kind of the same as what I've just discussed, though. Well, you saw how Ethereum reacted to Bitcoin over the past few weeks. So when Bitcoin crashes 80% at the end of the cycle, Ethereum will get obliterated as an investment, purely as the value of the token in dollar or pound terms. So that is therefore up to you around what you want to do with that. I don't personally recommend holding altcoins through the crash, but Ethereum will exist in 2025, so you can certainly hold it till then, no problem. And over the long term, it will do exceptionally well, because it's an absolutely critical part of the new world. Mary, if somebody gave you 1K and you could only spend it on a meme coin, which one would you pick? Why would you be so mean to me to give me that money and then make me spend it on a meme coin? That's the only way I would ever buy a meme coin. And maybe, are you going to actually give me that? That's fine. I would spend it on Wow Nero, because somebody told me that it was good. And that was you, Mary Lou. I know you're a big fan. Definitely not Dogecoin. Charlotte, the alts are up a lot today, so I guess this is a good time to move more over to Bitcoin, as they are all up against Bitcoin. Yeah, better to sell into strength than into weakness if possible. I'm not saying that altcoins are not going to continue pumping. I don't know the answer to that, but I'm looking at this next period of time, and makes more sense to me to be thinking about Bitcoin, as you are. Well done. Hervey, does Ethereum peak after Bitcoin? So if Bitcoin peaks in October, Ethereum would peak after this? Yes, the last cycle, altcoins peaked a couple of weeks after Bitcoin. So I'm expecting similar this time. if Bitcoin peaks in October, then a couple of weeks after that, you're looking for altcoins to peak. Sammy, do you use a Binance card, crypto card to mitigate the need to use a bank? I am working on that, but not at the moment. I just don't spend any money. Katie, I just sold the last of my altcoins for more Bitcoin whilst listening to this. Do your own research. Don't just do something because I said it might be a good idea. Well, I'm not liable if it goes wrong. Well, that's all the questions we have. So it's been a bit shorter than normal, which is not a bad thing. But do last chance, last call, if there's anything that you want to talk about, please put it in there. Not much has happened whilst we've been talking. Bitcoin's still up 8%. And altcoins, yeah, are doing absolutely fantastic. Chainlink's up 24%, Kusama's up 24%, Polkadot 23%, Graph 26%. Whereas Cardano, only 12%. That doesn't look good for Cardano. I'm assuming it got obliterated as well. What was Binance? Binance 22%. Yeah. Sammy, how many hours do I spend per day studying crypto? Some say that I don't sleep. I haven't slept over the past few days, but I try and look after myself because our health is the most important. I don't look at crypto at least for an hour after I wake up, and I turn off at 8 p.m. and I'm not working non-stop throughout that period. Darren, at the top of the Bitcoin cycle, would your advice be drawing down into USDT? It depends on what you want to do next over the next year. You can decide to go back into fiat or stay in crypto. So back into fiat, selling back into pounds or euros or dollars and into your bank account. Option A. Option B, staying in crypto. And if you're staying in crypto, then your stable coins of choice are USDT, USDC, BUSD, or DAI. There's others as well. I will be putting out content comparing the stable coins. And then it's what you want to do with it whilst you're in crypto land. You can lend out your USDT and make well, we'll have to check the interest rates at the time, but you can probably make 8% a year interest. Or you could use it to buy other crypto assets, such as Pax Gold, gold and silver backed tokens, stocks and shares backed tokens, real estate backed tokens. There are more and more options coming onto the market. Or you could stay in USDT and sit on it for a year, and hold it in your own custody. So get it on a hardware wallet or something like that. You want to be very safe, and then you just have it ready to start picking up cheap Bitcoin at around $60,000 at the end of 2022. Fabian, did I trade anything during this crash or stayed totally calm? I wasn't calm, I'm not going to lie to you. So I definitely learned a lot myself. And that's because it fell outside of my expectations. I thought the maximum drawdown was going to be 40%. And I definitely needed that wake-up call and that lesson, which was really, really good. I won't get into specifics on trading, but you know, I was putting out the content around Bitcoin dominance a few weeks before as a real warning to start thinking about moving altcoins into Bitcoin. Michael, in the bear market, should we stake our stable coins? Definitely a good option. Just make sure that you do your research on that particular platform and provider, because there's obviously risk involved. Fabian, I have 2 altcoins totally underwater. Hold till profit or change them to Bitcoin as they are up today. I really don't know the answer, so I can't. I'd be flipping a coin, really. I'd definitely 100% would suggest being in Bitcoin for the last 2 months. And I mean like 100% in Bitcoin for the last 2 months of the cycle, because that's when Bitcoin goes parabolic. So that's probably 2 to 3 months away. So for the next 2 months, I'd be guessing as to whether Bitcoin or your altcoin is going to perform better. Probably when the market's going up, the altcoins will be performing better. And then when the market's going down, they'll get destroyed again and Bitcoin will perform better on the way down. And it may be not much in it over the course of a couple of months. So very, very hard to say, I'm afraid. Yes, great point, Katja. London meetup this Sunday. So the community, particularly Katja, has arranged a meetup and it's open to everybody here. So get in the Telegram group and get the details. Also the Facebook group, whatever works better for you. And I believe it's going to be once a month, which will be absolutely amazing. When do I expect Ethereum to peak? I think I just answered it a couple of weeks after the Bitcoin peak. Maria, is Bitcoin definitely going to be around for the next 4 years? Yes, I believe Bitcoin will be around for the rest of our lives. How could you stop it at this point? Health is my wealth. Absolutely. Nothing else matters if you're not healthy. Bonita, knowing you do not have a crystal ball, about when will we see the new all-time high? That's a really good question. And if we, as a rough guide, the peak was on the 14th of April. So we've been about, what's that, about 6 weeks to where we are today. So maybe give it 6 weeks on the way back up, something like that. Very rough guess. Following the Bitcoin peak, should it be a good buying opportunity to secure a strong position in Ethereum, or does it make more sense to wait for the bottom of the Bitcoin bear market before buying again? Well, following the Bitcoin peak, Bitcoin will crash, altcoins will crash, and then there'll be a bounce and altcoins will go to the moon. So you can certainly buy Ethereum at a fairly cheap price and then see it go up a lot. But just bear in mind that a few weeks later, it's going to go down, start going down, and it'll go down probably 90% over the next year and a half. So I personally don't think it's a good idea to hold altcoins. through the bear market, but rather be ready to start buying towards the end of the bear market. Kate, will you continue putting out content during the bear market? Good question. And I definitely am not going anywhere. And one of the, this community is growing and evolving, and we're already talking about what it might look like in the future. And we don't know yet. I say we because this is much bigger than me. We're talking about maybe doing a rebrand and taking it in all sorts of directions. So in terms of my role, I really just want to find a way to add as much value as possible and to teach as many people as possible how to become financially free on one hand, but just as importantly, learn all about the fundamentals of Bitcoin in particular, because it really is the life raft. It's not just the life raft for the next 5 months, it's the life raft for the destruction of fiat currency and societies as we know them. And how I do that, we will see. But what I'm very keen to do is understand from everybody out there what you want me to do, because much rather give you what you need than just put out what I think is best and not be adding as much value as I possibly can. So that's basically what I'm saying is I think it's going to be collaborative around what that looks like following the peak. I might go offline for a month to recharge, but I'll be back. Jane, so current predictions based on the last 4-year cycle is that there will be a peak on October, and the smart money will then sell at that point and buy back when it drops, crashes. Yeah, yeah, absolutely right. The smart money will be selling all the way up as the dumb money is coming in towards the top. And then, yeah, bottom of the bear market, end of 2022, beginning of 2023, that's your opportunity to buy at an 80% discount. Thank you for that, Sammy. All right, I believe that's it. Some really, really good questions. Well done for everybody for making it through the last few weeks and still staying positive and keen to learn. And yeah, just again, make sure, well, I know you all are, just be learning as much as possible from all of these situations that we're being presented with, because this is a journey which is going to take us well into 2025 and beyond. The more you're learning now. What's that face for, Francesca? The more you're learning now, the better positioned you are, not just for yourself, but the people around you. This is all about spreading awareness. This is much bigger than us, but we're part of something very, very special. And with something that's special and such a imminent threat to existing power structures, you have to deal with 54% corrections in a few weeks. It comes with the territory. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you so much. Talk to you next week. Lots of love. Get in the Telegram group. See you later.